Okay, I wanted to do something a little bit different for this video and talk about the Avaluator trip planner and the various tools that are available on Avalanche Canada's website, avalanche.ca. So the first thing I want to talk about is this little resource right here, which is the Avaluator trip planner. And it's not to be confused with something that looks very similar and is also called the Avaluator, which is the Avaluator slope evaluation tool. And this card is a plastic card. It's two-sided. This is what you use out in the field, hence why it's plastic. But in the little booklet, when you did your AST1 course, on the back page, just kind of where that little plastic card was hidden, was a cardboard fold-out page. And in that little cardboard fold-out page is this Avaluator trip planner card. And so how this card works is we're going to go to avalanche.ca, we're going to check the avalanche forecast, and we're going to look at the danger ratings in the area that we want to go to. So let's have a look at that first. So I'm going to zoom into my area that I want to go to. And let's say we want to go to this region right here, which is where the sea to sky area is. And I click on that. I get a little tab that pops up to the side. I can make that full screen if I'd like. And there's my danger ratings right there. So I've got moderate, low, and low today. So if I'm going to be moving around the mountains, especially if I'm going to be in terrain that's affected by the alpine, then I'm going to want to look to that moderate danger rating. And so then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that little card, that Avaluator trip planner, and I'm going to follow where moderate is, and I'm going to see what types of terrain are recommended. So on this card, we have simple terrain. We can use normal amounts of caution. In challenging terrain, we can also use normal amounts of caution. But if we were to get into complex terrain, that's where we're going to want to stick with some extra caution. And definitely what that means is things that are often discussed in an AST1 and AST2 course. But this could be things like using good travel habits, like traveling one at a time, making sure that you're going out with groups that are dialed with their avalanche rescue gear, going out with people who know what they're doing. Those are some of the things that are included in that extra caution type of travel. Now, the other thing that's important, you can see on the website, we've got this problems tab. If you click on that, this particular bulletin, we actually have a persistent slab problem. Often when I have a persistent slab problem in my bulletin, I like to just kind of notch down my exposure a little bit by kind of choosing more simple avalanche terrain. Now, when we're talking about simple, challenging, and complex avalanche terrain, what we're talking about is our ATES rating system. And that's an acronym for Avalanche Terrain Exposure Scale, the ATES. And that avalanche terrain exposure scale was actually something that was invented in Canada by Parks Canada. And there's a ton of areas that are actually mapped using this system. And that's also available on avalanche.ca's website. So where you can find that trip planner on the website is you go up here to the very top under the resources tab. And then under here, under planning, you've got trip planner right here. Now, I highly recommend bookmarking that page on your desktop, but also bookmarking it on your smartphone. This trip planner isn't available in the app, so you'll just have to use the mobile website on avalanche.ca. Now, if you're viewing this on your phone, this big kind of legend that's right here is going to actually take over the whole screen. And so you're going to need to hit that X over there. There is some really good information about what the ATES ratings are: simple, challenging, complex, as well as a map legend over here. I'm going to close that and I'm going to zoom in to the area that I was looking at on the bulletin, and that was kind of the Whistler area. And what you can see here is lots of little spots start to pop up with all of this rating system in place. So green is simple terrain, blue challenging terrain, and black is complex terrain. So based off of what that trip planner recommended, you can start to look at where you've got an area that has a lot of that available type of terrain. So if you're dealing with a high avalanche hazard type of day and really simple terrain is what you should be looking at, then that's where you can use this trip planner to really start to hone in on what would be a good area to go to on that particular day. Now, one thing with this is I find that this website isn't the most usable tool for actually planning out a trip. It's great to start to kind of figure out where you want to go and looking for that simple, challenging, or complex terrain. But to actually do the next steps of trip planning, I find it to be a little bit difficult. So I'm going to show you another resource that I like to utilize, and this is Gaia GPS. Other similar websites would be Fat Maps, and either or, whichever you prefer, use that. As you can see, I've got lots of pins kind of saved on mine, and it's one of the things that I find really powerful with Gaia is that I can save all of these icons and pins right here. And I know it looks a little bit chaotic here, but it's something that I really like to utilize. And so all of this stuff is available when I view it on the desktop, but more importantly, it's available when I use the Gaia app. Now, what you can see here is this is actually the same area that we were looking at on the Avalanche Canada's website on their trip planner. I'm now viewing that area on Gaia, and you can actually see how I've added in those ATES rating systems. So you can see here where the simple terrain is, the challenging terrain, and then that black being complex. And now when I start to plan out a trip, I can start thinking about that as well, which I find very helpful. Now, anybody can download these regions. You just simply click on one of those polygons that highlights it, and this selects the entire area. So this area is known as the Spearhead Traverse, and you just click this download button right here. It'll take you through a couple of disclaimers. Make sure you read those. And then once you have that, you can click download and download that file. And then on your Gaia, and you can do this on Fat Maps as well, you can head over to here, click on import data, and then just select that file and simply upload it. Now, one thing to note, when you upload those files onto your Gaia, they unfortunately don't come in super clean. The lines are all good and everything is fine there, but there can be a lot of extra information that you might not want. And unfortunately, the colors of each of those polygons aren't correct. So you kind of have to go in there and manually change the colors of each of those areas. You know, it's not a huge deal, especially if you're only going to one area or a couple of areas. You just kind of add those to your Gaia and so be it. For me, I like to travel a lot and I like to go to lots of different places. And so I want to have available to me all of those different areas that are mapped on Avalanche Canada's website. I want them on my Gaia. So what I've been doing over the last couple of years is just kind of slowly adding them into my Gaia. Now, the good news is because Gaia folders can actually be shared amongst people, I can actually share that with you. So if it's something you're interested in, you want the file that has all of these, or a lot of them, I haven't completed all of them yet, but if you want that file to be shared with you, then all you have to do is send me an email, brent@bikeski.ca. You'll see a link down in the notes below the video. Send me an email with the email that you use for your Gaia account, and I'll send you that file, and I'll be continuing to add more regions. If there's a particular region that you want added to that Gaia file, just let me know, send me an email, and just request it, and then I'll try to get on it. Now, one last thing, and I'd kind of be remiss if I didn't say this, is that obviously this takes work and this takes time. And so I'd like to kind of do a little bit of an ask for you if you're in the position to help, and kind of just ask for a little bit of crowdfunding with this. So if you like this, you like that little Gaia file, and you want more things added, maybe consider just, giving me a little bit of a tip, a couple bucks here and there. So just in the notes below this video, you'll also see a link to my PayPal account as well as any eTransfers. So if you want to kind of send me a couple bucks and support the work that I'm doing by moving all this stuff over to Gaia to make it a really functional tool for anybody, I would really appreciate that. It's always great. So us Avalanche educators are always looking at ways that we can keep doing what we're doing, keep working in this industry, but obviously we need to get paid as well. So we gotta feed the families and keep the roofs over top of our houses. So I really appreciate you if you do have the means to support that. I appreciate that very much. So if you've got any questions, feel free to put them into the comments. And in the future, any other videos that you want to see, any questions that you might have, again, just add that stuff to the comments, and I'm happy to continue making videos to help people stay safe in the backcountry. And that's really the most important thing. So be safe out there this winter, and make sure you come home alive. That's the most important part. Thanks.